Hello everyone, welcome back to Survivor Talks with Mike. Today we'll be covering the finale of Survivor 43. We've finally made it to the finale with only 5 people left and each with a shot at winning. Let's hop right into the recap. We start the episode being re-shown the last tribal council with Jesse voicing over how he got the idol back from Cody. That was already obvious, but I guess it's good they added it for on a rewatch. We go to the new Gaia camp. Our finalists arrive at this new beach they will stay at for the rest of the season, and they get to have some tree mail for the first time that we've seen this season, which is a word scramble which reveals a hint to an advantage. Carla unscrambles the puzzle first and takes off, looking for the advantage. She is closely followed by Owen. Owen finds the right area first, but Carla comes in and takes the advantage before he can find it. Owen has a bit of a meltdown. He is very angry about coming so close and having the ball ripped out from under him once again. Carla will get a slight advantage at the next challenge. We go to the immunity challenge. The winner will get immunity and will also get a steak dinner. Jeff tells us these are big stakes, which was very punny of him. The end of the challenge involves bringing letter blocks across a balance beam to where the contestants have to solve a word puzzle. Carla's advantage has her starting with 1/3 of the blocks already there. This is, I think, a good balance of giving her an advantage, but it's not so big that she is assured the win. Despite her advantage, everyone is relatively close at the end, but Owen solves the word puzzle first, giving him his 3rd immunity of the season and big stakes. He chooses to bring Cassidy with him as she hasn't been to the sanctuary yet. We then go to the sanctuary where Owen and Cassidy discuss that Jesse and Carla are the biggest threats. Cassidy would like to get out Carla next. We go back to the new Gaia camp where Jesse and Carla realize they are probably the next on the chopping block, so they discuss trying to get out Cassidy instead. Jesse would actually like Carla to stick around. She would be a potential shield for him at the final 4, but Carla would actually like to get Jesse out. Carla talks to Cassidy and threatens her with her jury vote and with poisoning the jury. Cassidy says that she lost a lot of respect for Carla with that. I personally am okay with them using it as a threat. Use whatever you can, and when you're on the jury, your vote is your power. So use that power that you have to try to get to the end. I'm not a big fan of if it actually does cause them to lose the game, but you can use it while in the game. We then go to Tribal Council. Jesse calls out Carla for going around behind his back trying to get him voted out, but he then reveals that he has been holding onto Janine's idol ever since Dwight got voted out. Says he's not going home tonight, and everyone's jaws were dropped. Janine's jaw, I don't think, came back up for the rest of the Tribal Council. This changes the dynamics of this Tribal Council, and for the first time this season, people are getting out of their seats and whispering to come up with a new plan. We now have a live Tribal Council. They go to vote, and Carla is voted out 4-1 with her vote going on Jesse to ruin his perfect game, but it doesn't count due to the idol, so technically he still hasn't received a vote. My thoughts on Carla: she was my winner pick from the beginning. She really played a great game up until the last couple weeks here, when I think she took her foot off the gas a little and then couldn't recover from messing up a little bit. We start the next day at the immunity challenge. It's close the whole way through, with Gabler leading at one point, then completely losing his lead, and then Owen is leading for a bit before he messes up a couple times and completely loses it, and he ends up spiking his Bident onto the ground and breaking it, or bending it anyways, leaving an opening for Cassidy to get her 3rd immunity win of the season. We go back to the Gaia camp. Jesse is disappointed that he didn't win a single immunity and knows he will be making fire, but he won't give up. He tries to plead to Cassidy to go in herself against him at fire making because he thinks that he has his best chance against her, but Cassidy doesn't need to do that. Owen and Gabler both want to make fire against Jesse to strengthen their respective resumes. Cassidy thinks that if Owen wins fire making, that would be enough for him to win the game, but doesn't think that if Gabler wins, that would be enough for him. However, she is worried that Gabler is feeling too weak to be able to make fire. Gabler, for the first time, mentions that if he wins, he will be donating 100% of the winnings to the charity Veterans in Need. That's a really nice gesture for him if he wins. We then go to Tribal Council, where Jesse once again reiterates that he wants Cassidy to go against him, to which Cassidy confirms she doesn't think she needs to, which is right, since she has already earned her spot by winning immunity, and if she did go against him, she would just be discredited as having been baited by Jessie to put herself in. Owen and Gabler each say that they want to go in against Jessie, so Cassidy makes her decision and sends Gabler in against Jessie. They each get a flame pretty quickly, but Jessie can't get his to grow, and Gabler builds his up quickly, burning through the rope in record time. Jessie is feeling down, but Cassidy reassures him that this decision to put him in fire was completely out of respect for how strong of a game he played, and they all reassure him that his family would be proud of how he did. My thoughts on Jessie: he played one of the best non-winning games of all time, and I'm certain he will be brought back the next time they do a returning player season. We then move on to the final day, where we hear from each player why they think they deserve to win, and from the jurors what they think of their games. I think an interesting comment came from Noelle when she said about Owen that she would rather vote for the underdog than the person that just sat pretty on a journey the entire time. I think this might have been a hint as to potentially Carla having poisoned the thoughts of the jury. We then go to Final Tribal Council. I have a lot to say about the Final Tribal Council, so I'm going to do a follow-up video next week about the dynamics of this tribal council and its jury, so I'll just keep this description of it simple for now. Owen does well, but he doesn't really stand too much of a chance since he was always on the wrong side and didn't really have anything he could claim as his own. Cassidy was put in a bad situation here. I think she could give a good final tribal council, but the jury is very unwilling to credit her or listen to her point of view. Gabler does a great job of making the jury feel good about themselves, and while I think his performance is flawed, it works for the jury. They go to vote, and we are shown James voting for Cassidy while Carla votes for Gabler. Jeff reads the votes right there, and Gabler wins 7-1. So my thoughts on each of the final three. Owen, I really liked Owen. He was the underdog, Charlie Brown superfan, and while quoting and constantly referencing past seasons can get a little cringy, I never found him to cross that line. Cassidy, out of the final three, I was really rooting for her. I like that she was so aware of how the women were being taken out at an alarming rate, and I liked her fight. And Gabler, he was a fun, kooky character that I didn't really think would win, but considering what he's doing with the money, I'm alright with him winning. And then we move on to the post show. I still don't really like this post-show format and think at the very least they should be giving them a day to recover and sleep and discuss with each other the game before going into this, though I would much prefer they just go back to doing a live show after everyone has seen how things played out on TV. I will say this is the best of these post shows so far. The one really notable thing we get to see is Gabler announcing that he will be donating his winnings to charity, and everyone seems to be happy with the results thanks to that. My review for this finale. This is a weird finale to review, as I think on its own it's really good, but as its part in the season as a whole, I don't think it quite fits well. I'll look at it isolated for this review, but when it comes to the season review, it will have an effect on the overall score. I also don't count the post show as part of this review. For the final five, however, this was great. The first hour was basically an episode in itself, which I think I would give a pretty good score, like a 9 out of 10, and then we still had more beyond that. I think the fire making was a little boring, and even with it being the record-breaking fastest fire making challenge, it still felt drawn out, and I would honestly have just preferred to see a quick 3-1 vote out of Jessie. The final tribal council I think also had issues, which again I'll go into next week, but I still prefer the old structure of each juror getting their time to ask a question or make a statement, and I think that format would have fixed some of the issues I had with this final tribal council. So I give the finale a score of 7 out of 10. That's all I've got for this one. It was an interesting finale at least, and completely surprised me. I'll get into the final tribal council more next week, and then after that we'll do our full season review. If you want to catch that, make sure you hit subscribe, and if you like this video, hit like.